Hey everyone, I'm TM Sparrow, writer and homeschooling mom, and today I'm going to share my thoughts on Storyplot, What the Masters Have to Say by Yudhanjaya Wijeratne. Before I jump into today's topic, I do want to give you a quick reminder. Because I have been participating in the Save Your Sister tag, I wanted to remind you that as of today, there are only 6 days left until the release of Jenna Moretzi's The Save Your Sister. She has a super awesome pre-sale giveaway going on, so if you want a chance at some pretty awesome prizes that she still has left to give out, then you should definitely pre-order and make sure to enter the pre-sale giveaway. And I will put all of the relevant links in the description. As someone who loves story structure and learning about all the different types that are out there, I was pretty excited when I stumbled across this little book. I actually found it when I was researching for my Kisho Tenketsu video. And since that section was so helpful to me, I decided to pick up a copy of my own. It doesn't seem to be a very well-known book, with only 5 reviews on Amazon. But you never know what hidden gems are out there being overlooked. Is this book one of them, though? Now, I had never heard of Yudhanjaya Wijeratne before I found this book. Wijeratne is a Sri Lankan author with quite the life story spanning several different careers. He's given TED Talks, and he's been nominated for a Nebula Award. As always, I will link his information in the description for you if you want to learn more about him. But let's talk about the book. This book is not an in-depth source of information. Wijeratne makes sure to point this out in his introduction. This book covers a lot of different structures in an informative and concise way that makes it great for anyone who's looking for a quick overview or refresher. So if you're not already familiar with the structures, this book isn't going to help you gain an in-depth understanding of them. It does, however, serve as a good starting point for learning about story structure. In fact, this book was really helpful for both my Kisho Tenketsu and story structure basics videos. There are structures in this book that I didn't even realize existed until I started reading it. So the book gets major points for that. I also really liked the way this book is organized, starting with 3-part structures and moving up from there. The brief introductions to each section were also interesting and informative. It would have been easy for this book to end up reading like a textbook, but I actually found the writing to be as engaging and interesting as it could be for an informational book like this. So, those are the good points, but the book did have its flaws as well. The most egregious of these would have to be the typos. Now, I can give a little leeway for small errors that get missed in all the edits and proofreading, but what I'm talking about here are glaring typos. I would probably be a little more forgiving if this were a fiction book, but with nonfiction, I feel like it is especially important to make sure that your work is as clean and error-free as possible. It's hard to take a work seriously as a scholarly source when the typos are this obvious. I also found his explanations a little difficult to follow sometimes because he would jump through different examples instead of using the same example for each part of a structure. When you're alternating examples for the steps, it's much more difficult to see how the structure moves from one part to the next. I find that it's much easier to understand a structure if you use 1 or 2 good examples and break those down into each part of the structure. And then there's the fact that some of these explanations are taken from other sources and put word for word into the book. Not in a plagiaristic way, Wijeratne does cite his sources. It's just that I would much rather see a writer put these explanations into their own words. Vulgar's hero's journey, for example, is shared in Vulgar's own words, and I have his book for that. I want it explained in different terms, because sometimes that can make a difference. That's why I read so many different books. A different perspective can often clarify something that I didn't understand. There are two more issues that I have with this book, and they both have to do with the section on Freytag's pyramid. The first one feels a bit nitpicky, but he says that Freytag created his pyramid for analysis in the 18th century, when he created it in the mid-19th century. This is pretty forgivable though, because the way we count centuries is weird. But the major issue that I have here is that Wijeratne went out of his way to talk about how he almost didn't include this section because of Freytag's problematic views. However, he later quotes Lovecraft without so much as a word about what a horrible person he was. And the Lovecraft quote wasn't even necessary. It's at the end of the introduction to the last section and has little to do with the content. So that just sort of rubbed me the wrong way. So overall, I think this is an okay book. I don't regret getting a physical copy because I do think it will be handy to have around as a quick reference. But I wouldn't say that it's a must-have either. And that's it for today. If you have a craft book that you would like to see me review, then you can let me know in the comments down below. Or, as always, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. And if you want to see more, then don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos on Wednesdays. See you next time.
Hello! In case you've forgotten or are new, my name is Ava, and this is Mommy!
Why don't you tell everybody what your favorite book is that you've read this month?
Nikki Tesla and the Ferret-Proof Death Ray.
What did you like most about it?
What I liked most about it was the part where she's like about, going in a little glass cage on her first day.
So was it a funny book?
An adventurous book.
An adventurous book, cool.
I like adventure books.
Adventure books are fun.
Yeah.
You brought something else to show everybody again tonight.
Yep. I am Baby Yoda. Come play with me. It's a Baby Yoda plush. Bye.
Before I get started on today's topic, I just wanted to drop a reminder that hey everyone, I'm TM Sparrow, writer and homeschooling mom. Yay! I don't say blah blah blah.
There's video evidence that you do.
Shut up, you. I don't say blah blah blah, I just say blah. I can do this. I'm so tired. As someone who... Shut up. Now, I had never heard of... I forgot his name. I'm gonna stop failing now. By which I mean I'm just gonna stop trying. This book covers a lot of different structures in... I lost it. There are structures in this book that I didn't even know existed until I started. It would have been really easy for this book to... The little introductions to each section were also interesting and informative. It would have been very easy for... It's hard to take a work seriously as a scholarly source if there are glaring I lost it. But when you're alternating examples for the steps, it's much more difficult. When you're alternating examples for the steps, it's Wijeratne does cite his sources. It's